Hey, it's Vanessa, and welcome to this new video. This one is going to be on a monthly breakdown of the energetics of 2024. So even though I will be sharing with you per month the energy of that month, and I did give you an overall read for the energy of 2024, and you may be feeling this too, there's so much coming through around the energy of this year from many different systems and frameworks and energy reads, because it's a really big year, especially in terms of creating the kind of change that you've been looking to experience in your life, creating, aligning, and intentionally choosing to step into that new version of you, like really cultivating that very intentionally. And it's a big year for the systems and structures to shift. So it's kind of like, I don't know what that's saying, like it's sort of an old school saying. I was going to say all men on deck, it's kind of calling everything up in terms of what can support us energetically to really make the choices that are going to allow us to live more fully in the embodiment of our potential, more fully in our own unique brand of New Earth leadership, because the new paradigm, it comes through us, right? And so that requires us to be in tune with our truth, in tune with the energies, to really know how to navigate all the external shifts that are going on, as well as the internal changes that we are going through. I will say, if my throat sounds a little froggy, I am getting over a cold right now, so bear with my froggy voice as I do that. So this is something, I believe I mentioned it in the annual read of 2024. I used to do this quite often for myself and also for clients, is to break down a month by month what the energetics look like for them personally and for myself personally. And so I decided to tune in from a collective level is what's the overview? Because when we have this larger framework, it really does support us in kind of planning out our year, checking our own energy when we know this larger context that we're working with. It serves to support us in multiple ways. So I'll be sharing the details of that, and I'm going to challenge myself, see if I can actually make like a 10-minute video versus a 20 or 30 or 40 or 50-minute video in going over each of these months. First, I do want to say welcome. If you're new or returning, really glad that you're here and that you're tuning in. For me, I really love to share about energy and the paradigm shift and your purpose role within it all. That's and vitality and optimizing vitality, because vitality is one of the most courageous acts, rebellious acts that you can do to take a stand in the world, is to create the most healthiest, optimized version of you so you could be a vital player in this game that we are currently in. And so I'm really glad that you're here and you're tuning in, and please do like, comment, subscribe, share, click to get notifications, all that social media stuff, so this gets out to more of my people. I do have an Old Earth, New Earth series. It's free on YouTube. Just look for the playlist, or I'll put it in the description box below, and it goes over the paradigm shift, navigating the energetics of it, and your purpose role within it all. I could probably tell you more things to, check out, buy, support, but really just check the description box, because again, I want to keep this to really just a short overview of every month of the year. And yeah, so I'm gonna have a sip of water. You can take a breath or have a sip of water too with me. Cheers. And then we'll get into the energies. All right. So as I said, I am recording this video on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. If you do happen to find it any other time during the year, please know it's an overview of the whole year. So if you find it in June, for example, you can reflect back on the months that have gone by and go, oh my gosh, yeah. So when we have an awareness of like these certain energy themes that are moving through, we can put what's been going on in our life in more, right relationship and proper context. It really helps to integrate what we've gone through. So this is one of the bajillion ways that energy and knowing about energy can support your journey on multiple levels. And then, of course, if you're in June and you're like, what's coming up? What can I focus on? It's still going to serve you. All right, let's do it. Let's go. January. We've already passed it, but the overview that I got for January is what are we looking at here? It's kind of like lay of the land, like, okay, what's going on here? Because from an unconscious level, collective unconscious level, we are already tuned into the larger energies that are always moving through. We're in tune with the collective larger energies. We're tuned into our soul's group, larger energies, and then we're tuned into our own individual shifts and changes and our own unique cycles that we go through based on our design, right? Like our soul's blueprint. And so there was a natural inclination from an energetic perspective to go, well, we all had a sense that this is going to be a very transformational year. So there's just this overall, what is going on? What's the lay of the land here? And so if you find yourself that you're still in that energy, like you're trying to assess, you're trying to gain clarity and figure out which direction am I going to go in here, remind yourself that was a bit more the energy of January. So I can release that. I can let that go. I can move on, and I can really tune into my own sense of trust that we're in a new energetic now. And I've had some people ask, does the energy really change day to day and month to month? And yes, it does. It really does. And especially when we have these collective calendars where we know the month of January, on a meta, like much larger level, we're living in attunement with nature, ideally, and in the way that nature moves through. But from a collective perspective, we all have an agreement that we consented to that we call January, February, March, and April. And so there's a little goes like that energetically in our system when we move into a new month. And so really allow yourself each month to let the energies of the last month go. Assume that they are being integrated and it's time to move on now. And that, I would say, is definitely an overall theme of 2024. It's time to move on now. So there's a really accelerated pace to this year. I already feel like it's June. I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I sat down to make this today, I was like, what month are we in again? It feels like it's just a bit of a whirlwind. Okay, so February, it's about steadying. So when there's a steady rhythm, there's a steady pace, you feel just a sense of being very rooted, grounded, in body, safe. It's like being held, it's like there's a container that you're boundaried. There's just this sense of like things clicking into place, tending to the details, getting overall organized. It just doesn't it's at a fast pace. Definitely. But there is just an overall sense that it's gaining a rhythm that will steady you. Part of the reason why our natural rhythms get thrown off, there's many reasons, but one of them is because we are, being affected by these changes in energy that create a bit of an erratic rhythm in our system. And so the energy of February, it is moving at a fast pace, but there does feel like an underlying steadiness to it. So if you're ever feeling really rocky in the month of February or wobbly or whatnot, if you can just remind yourself that underneath, the energetic underneath is actually quite steady. So root yourself into that. And I'm going to pause for just a second. Hold, please. I had to pause to take some water and to cough, having this long-term COVID since like mid-December. It is no joke. I do not consent to or participate in mainstream approaches to restore my vitality. But it does take a diligence on my end to really, discern and choose and be very intentional about my own energy so I can continue to raise my vitality and my frequency, because that's super important to do right now. But if I need to pause to have a little coughing fit, you may just take a moment to chill and or a breath or some water or whatnot. Okay, so that is the overall energy for February. I do want to give a nod to the February or to the Chinese New Year, which is happening on the 10th, I believe, depending on where you're located in the world, but I'm pretty sure it's the 10th all day, and it's the year of the wood dragon. I'm not super familiar with that, but I do have a close kinship with the energies of dragon, and which what I do know is the dragon energy is really about leadership. It's about standing out. It's like you can't ignore, just like you can't ignore the elephant in the room, you can't ignore the dragon either. And so that's an energy you may feel rising in you this month, especially over the course of the weekend when we do this sort of switch over. But the theme of leadership and self-leadership and self-responsibility and being in integrity is a big one this year in particular. So clean up your energy around anything that you need to, whether it's in your communication, your relationships, your money, your health, whatever it is, clean it up. And if you need any tips on doing that, I do have a DIY course. It's called Clean Up Your Energy, and it's got 51 energy tools in it. So I'll put a link in the description box, or just go to my website. It's vasmith.com, and then just clean up your energy with dashes between the words. Okay, moving on to March. The theme that I got for March is, wait, what? And which is a funny theme, right? Well, wait, what? And so this can be interpreted positively or negatively. It's up to you. I don't want to say it's up to you. Well, it is up to you, your perspective on it and how you choose to view whatever is unfolding in your life. And this could be related to your life. It could also be related to the collective. I don't know about you, but I certainly see stories, kind of float by my radar as I intentionally do not pay attention to mainstream news, but it's in the ethers. And so there are certainly stories out there that make you go, wait, what? So that was the energy that I got for March. That could be expressed in like an opportunity for you that you were just not expecting. Like, what? Like, this is good. This is so good that it's happening right now, or this dropped in. Like, what? Where did this come from? It could be news that you didn't expect that can really throw you off. So either way, I would say like the overall with March is, be grounded. Be as clear and grounded as you can be. So when you receive an opportunity, if that's how it shows up for you, that wait, what can be followed up with aligned action, or whatever it is can be followed up with the intuitive right next steps for you, and kind of, I would say, build on that steadiness that came in February. And use that for your grounding in March. April, I got a funny image for April. I got this image of Superman. There's a part where he's like busting through. Did Superman used to go like this? It feels like he went like this. and busted through something, or maybe that's how he flew through the air. I'm remembering like the Superman of the 1980s. And when Christopher Reeve was playing Superman, which I don't care if that dates me. I'm at this point where I'm feeling kind of like, I don't know, it's just wild to think that I existed and grew up before the internet was a thing. Anyway, so April has this energy of like busting through at a very accelerated pace, like Superman flying through the sky, just like somebody just stepped on the gas pedal, and it is like all systems are go. We're just moving. We are moving, and we're moving fast. And yeah, it feels like there's a sense of like a great force is sort of behind. So if you've been in when's it going to pop open, or you've been in the like, things just aren't moving at the pace that you would want them to, like hang on to your hats in April, because there's just a sense of really fast movement in all the things. Moving on to May. So May and June are interesting. What I'm getting to tell you is that May and June energy may be reversed depending on your design. So we all have a unique design. I always reference astrology, human design, and the gene keys because they've been really informative for me. And like not pride, but I'm someone who has a pretty in tune sense of myself, like a pretty high self-awareness, generally speaking. I don't know, it's a Scorpio trait, or it's just who I am. But the more that I learned about gene keys, astrology, and human design, especially combined together, it's blew my mind. It's such helpful frameworks to understand more about who you are. I have no affiliation with any of that. It's just I find it helpful, and I like to share the things that I find helpful for me. So depending on your design, May and June energy may switch. Like I'm about to tell you how it appeared to me, and then you may find, oh, I'm experiencing this June energy more so in May, and then the May more in June. So just know that that's the possibility. Okay. May appeared like a smooth river ride. So I don't know if you've ever been in an inner tube and you're going down the river. I have. It actually wasn't that cozy. It was a little wobbly and rocky. But when you're watching people go down a river, like a smooth river, it just has this sense of being this smooth river ride. Like you're like, oh, that looks so relaxing. And I think it's the energies are like that because of the fast pace of April, this sort of busting through with like force, kind of a feeling like we just need a little bit of like, okay, we're gonna chill out for a while. We're gonna like just have a smooth river ride for a little bit. And yeah, we'll need it and we'll want it, is what I get for May. And then for June, I got that it's going to be a little wobbly, like just a sense of recalibration. Wobbly is the word that came through, but just a sense of, I hear my throat going, a sense of recalibration, kind of like, what are we, it's similar to January. January was like, what are we looking at here? Like, let's look at the landscape and kind of figure out what goes where. June is more like, what are we doing here? Like, what exactly are we doing here? So if you've made any plans or commitments or had certain connections and collaborations, or just, your daily practices, you're going to really want to take a look at that in June. Like, is it set up in a way that's actually supporting you? Do you need to make any adjustments? It's just going to feel like a little wobbly, little rocky. Again, that could switch with May depending on your design, but it's like a recalibration and an assessment of what's actually going to work for you. Then July, I got antsiness, and that there was just a certain level of like, I had to check to see if I'm projecting, like, did I insert my own assumptions on July, and I got no, that it's going to be a bit of a collective thing because I'm planning on moving and getting ready for that. So, but there's just going to be a sense of like, I have more energy now. I have anticipation of what's to come. There's just going to be like, yeah, come on, let's go. Like this is happening. We're doing it. So there's a sense of like antsiness in July. And then interestingly, August, September, and October were all blank. And I was like, what is that about? Why are they blank? I'm like, whoa, what's going to happen? Like, is that when the aliens come? No, we're just kidding. We're already here. So the August, September, and October are they're going to play out more individually for you based on what's going on in your life. Like you're not going to feel as affected by the collective. Let me say that. So I'll still be making videos for those months, like an energy read overview of what the collective energetics looks like. But for you personally, you're just going to have a sense of like whatever's most relevant to you. So you're going to have a sense of like being outside of the collective, I will say, that it's more about your personal journey at that point, and really not that you need to do the reflection, but there's going to be sort of a natural like settling in after all the previous months of kind of riding these collective waves and attuning to your own natural rhythm and making your intentional choices, all of that stuff, right? And then you're going to get to August, September, and October. It's not going to feel like it's a blank slate necessarily. It's just going to be more focus on your individual life, your individual reality. Again, the new earth paradigm comes through you. It comes through each of us. And so it's up to us to be very intentional about how we're going to show up in the world. What choices are we making? How are we setting up our lives? How are we talking about and thinking about and feeling what we experience on a day-to-day level? What are the stories that we are making about the collective? How are we crafting the narrative that is shaping the new earth paradigm? Who are we communicating and connecting with? So it's like all of these pieces, everything that you do in your daily life, it counts. It is part of the quite literal structure of the new earth paradigm. We are the midwives and the creators and the artists. We are like bringing it through, okay? And so that's why dragon, my cat's tail, dragon energy, leadership energy, new earth leadership is important. It is who you are. And, it's like we talk about, it's just so interesting to me. Okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'll pull myself back in. But it's so interesting to me, the progression, the evolution of the self-help industry. Like it went from like learning how to be empathetic and emotional intelligence and what's my best life. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Like that is, sort of the next step of personal development, I guess, is to reflect on what's really aligned for you. That's an important piece. Absolutely. And there's something about it that is still staying in the realm of 3D, human, ego, mental perspectives. And we are moving and have moved already far beyond that. Like we are working from an intuitive, energetic, spiritual, multidimensional 5D reality template. The new earth is already here energetically. We're literally on it. Except we have to really check ourselves. Are we orienting to the external and our internal reality from an old paradigm perspective? Or are we stepping into leadership? Am I yelling at you? Oh my gosh, my voice is kind of loud right now. Are we stepping into leadership and actually being the versions of ourselves that are the creators and the leaders of and the birthers of this new earth paradigm? It's a choice. It's a choice. And so August, September, and October is really, saying, let's let's check in about this and really look at where you're in alignment with these larger collective Aquarian concepts. How are you embodying them? And so I just find it interesting from a personal development evolution perspective. It's like it got into the mainstream narrative around, like I said, emotional intelligence, empathy, even developing your intuition. You can see the progression over time. Like if you've been around for a while, like I have. Hi, I was born in the 70s. And you see this progression, but now we're really moving into an era of what the ego calls individuality, or, there's some people call it individuation. I call it originality. Like this is like your original soul blueprint, your unique expression of God through you, and what you are designed to do. What's the higher frequency expression of that? And how does that contribute to the collective? That is a bigger conversation. That's a different kind of expanded consciousness perspective on the personal development movement. Okay, I think I'm done with my tangents. You can hear the frogginess in my voice. Okay, so then let me, feeling fiery. Every time I cough too, I'm like, I get so mad. I think I'm going to change my approach and just say, I love you. I love you. We're done. We're done with that. Boundaries are such a good thing. We're not doing that here. I swear, much of adult life is just learning how to reparent yourself. Okay, November. The energy I got for November was that was not what I expected. That's the phrase. That was not what I expected. So again, for better or for worse, it's all going to depend on what are the elements at play in your life. We don't know. We'll see. And so it's just, yeah, you can take a look at it's going to illuminate your expectations. And you could get things that are a lot better or a lot worse. And so it has a little bit of a similar energy to March. March is more like surprise, though. It's like, wait, what? That's the energy of March, whereas November, it's like, that was not what I expected. So there's a link to your expectations, your, perhaps assumptions or desires or your attachments to those. They'll get illuminated in December. Again, for better or for worse, depends on you and whatever's happening in your cute little life with your cute little human avatar. Okay, December, I got, December's always like the finale month. Like, what's gonna go on December? It's like we pile our faces with sugar and then go, why are we sick? Why did we get sick? People drink a lot of alcohol, have a lot of sugar, and then they wonder why they get sick. Maybe hanging out with people that don't fill their cup. And then there's other people that are like commune with nature type kind of people. Sorry, my cat is like deciding to make a cameo here. Can you move? Okay, so December is, I got 2 tracks. And it's actually the track that shows up is going to be very connected to how the whole year played out for you. So it's either going to be the icing on the cake. It's kind of like, oh, cool cake. But then there's icing on it. So you're like, oh, unless you don't like icing. I do. Did you ever have those, what was it? It's driving me nuts. It's like a tin, not a tin. It's a little container of frosting. I can't remember the name of the brand. I always have these conversations with my husband, actually. We have like fond food memories of all the sugary things that we ate when we were kids, that we wouldn't even go near now because they're probably a chemical nightmare. So finale, the icing on the cake. It's going to be like, wow, it's like we have cake and there's frosting on it too. Or it will be the roller coaster on fire. So I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where, it's like a roller coaster, it's on fire, and you know, or no, maybe it's a merry-go-round. But the energy that I got for December is a little bit more of the roller coaster on fire. So just no, if you know that ahead of time, do whatever you need to do to really strengthen yourself, strengthen your system, really get your roots, be in your integrity. You know, I mean, humans will human, and I'm a human too. So people make mistakes all the time. It's, you know, like learn, grow, be responsible for yourself, apologize when you need to. You know, think about the larger context that we're all existing within and know that that has an impact on how you show up, and it can be really challenging sometimes. So December, icing on the cake or roller coaster on fire. It sounds kind of wacky to look forward to. I guess what I'm saying is the energy might be a little more pronounced, a little more extreme, a little more like big finale kind of vibes for this month. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in this very revolutionary year. So just in sum, to lay this out for you, I've already gone over the months. I'm not going to recap. You can just click the chapters if you want to go back to a certain month and hear that again. But the way that I suggest working with this is think about what you want to do for your year. Like, what are your goals? What are your commitments? What's already on your calendar? And then think of them in the context of the energetics of each of these months. What might you need to put into place to support yourself, whether it's like an internal resource, like a new like mindset that you, or mantra that you want to focus on, or maybe you have some energy tools that ready to like clear out the energy so you're not carrying anybody else's junk with you. Or, you know, maybe it's like looking at what you eat and choosing foods that are more nourishing for your system. Maybe it's getting outside and attuning with nature. Like, what do you need to support and strengthen your system? This is all about vitality. And I promise you, the Vitality series will be coming soon. I want to say a brief note about that. It's the Vitality series. It's a playlist here on YouTube. It's also part of my Check the Energy podcast. It was meant to launch January 1st. And then, then I got COVID and Corona, and a 5G hub situation here that likes to, it has a real impact on my energy. So I just walk around with this in my house, which is black tourmaline for any of you that like, what was that? It's a way to actually clear out these very discordant collective energies that are unnatural and really, really mess with your vibration. Truly, I'm like floored. And so I'm like, okay, apparently I need to go through this to be able to talk about it and reboot my own system. And this is part of the larger navigation that we're doing right now. But anyway, the Vitality series, it's exploring all the different ways that we can, you know, optimize our vitality and also really lean into this idea that we are vital players in this paradigm shift. And so it's primarily going to be conversations with guests, of which I've recorded, you know, quite a number. And things are just taking me a little bit longer because I've been, you know, working with restoring my own vitality. I will also put out some you know, conversations on vitality where I'm just chatting about it, because I have a lot of things to say about vitality, and it's very much for me the foundation and also the rebel stance that I like to take, because it's a win-win, right? It's a way that we can say no thank you to the mainstream paradigm, the older earth paradigm, while also at the same time optimizing our own individual experience of life. We're strengthening our system. And when our system is strong, grounded, clear, soul level confidence, we have a different experience of life. We are more vital. We are more vital. And that is a good thing. We can access what we need to access when we are vital. And so I'm super looking forward to bringing that to you. I'm not going to give a date, So I'm feeling March. I'm feeling like, this when spring blooms, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So be on the lookout for this. I can guarantee myself this is not a 10-minute video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for tuning in. And again, if you're new, please do subscribe if you're into this kind of content. And if you're not, then just scroll on. And yeah, like, comment, share, click to get notifications, check the description box. Again, clean up your energy. I've got a whole bunch of goodies over on my site, vasmith.com. Go over and check them out. My specialty, if you're curious about that, beyond being a messenger and a mentor and a mobilizer around this paradigm shift, is to work with the transformational healers, teachers, and messengers that are here to shift the paradigm. They're here to build and bridge to the new earth paradigm. So if that's you, get in touch with me. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with you much later. As you can tell, my voice is quite froggy still from this cold, but feeling strong, feeling vital, and fiery. All right, take care, and I'll see you again soon.